Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest narration of the web series The Drums of War, which is Book 2 in the Sneakyverse. There are links down below to the original book and the start of this book. Anyways, on to the story. Chapter 3, Glorious Axur. On the flagship of the glorious Exak Forward Fleet Elements, Priest Lord Taglach Palzer lounged in his command throne and enjoyed the pleasant scent of singed living flesh wafting through the air. Failure must carry a price, and exacting one's price ought to be pleasant after all. Indeed, he knew not what part of such demonstrations of consequence was more pleasant to him, the scent of burning flesh, the bitten-back cries of anguish, or the sight of the pathetic beetle of Axok quivering with shame at being made to support his weight on his joint horns. Crouched on the ground like filthy dung beetle, like these disgusting, what were they sacrifices called? Dienstrons? No matter to Priest Lord Tyglak Parksar. The race of unworthy ones was unworthy of remembrance. These Terrans, though, and the Lord Admiral's council, they might be worthy of service to Axur. They might be worthy of continued breath.
You may stand.
Acolyte Lord Narek Quinn scrambled to his feet, and High Priest Ishar Ixtar made a noise of displeasure when he kept his eyes properly downcast as he said,
I obey, Priest Lord. You have lost the ship. Explain. These Terrans sent to us a request for a diplomatic meeting, and by my horns I could not allow that insult to the minion of Axak's glorious might pass unanswered. I knew from my previous engagements with the ships of the Starsailors that they may be worthy of service to Axur, and I thought to exploit the weakness of their dignitaries by holding their lives hostage to bring both warriors to our command. You swagger over a favored daughter who has come to treat with you, even while the sons do stand with swords girt at their sides, she said. Is that correct? High Priestess Ishar Ixtar mused as she toyed with some local mammal, a rodent perhaps. That is close to what the one of the Republic of Terra and her aligned planet said, O Priestess. Priest Lord Taglach Palksar casually brought up a portion of the security logs from one of the reactor rooms of the destroyed vessel. These Terrans, with their matte black armor, were half again the size of any of the pink, brown, and sometimes even black-skinned Exacoids from the glorious siege of the Star Sailor ship. He idly wondered whether the ones from earlier engagements were juveniles, or perhaps these mammals had biological costs. Unusual, but some sacrifices had been such. They came in a strange variety, though, some with tails, some without. Some with thumbed feet and some without, which might suggest castes, except that they were all warriors, all effective warriors. Those without tails but with thumbed feet used this to occupy firing positions and take cover in the support structure. Those with tails and long protruding faceplates would drop to all fours and charge, and use devastating blades attached to their helmets, like the jaws of a hunting cuff. Those ones with shorter faceplates were more lithe, and if pressed into a corner with savage warriors with small blades attached to their gloves. Yet those who seemed most like the Axok were simply relentless. They would begin firing their kinetic weapons as soon as one of the Axok warriors caught its attention, and would fire even through bulkheads with the terrible weapons to kill. When their weapons ran out of ammunition, they used them as clubs. When they battered them apart, they drew forth long knives. They were indeed girt with swords, he said. How did you come to survive, your knuckle horns yet unbruised? Priest Lord, I was encased in my command throne from the instant the Terrans began fighting upon the bridge. I saw their kinetic weapons and thought them ceremonial and did not take precautions against a hell breach. There were no servants available to transport the command throne to a pressurized area to free me, and even the highborn did not dare endanger my life, though it is forfeit. Your fate is not yet written, High Priestess Ishar Ixtar chanted in the voice of Farsight. The commands you issued have stirred a sleeping giant. Her infants wail at the destruction of a favored bauble. Her children swallow their tears and become men. Her sons carry the fire of wrath. She stirs, she rumbles, and Axur sees his bride. Ocean shall be red with blood, stars shall quake. The spear called Navy is coiled, and you stand covered in scarlet with glory. Priest Lord Taglach Palkzer
leapt to his feet to catch his wife before she could tumble from the dais and said,
"Fate has spared your life, yet you still lost the ship. Which hand do you favor?"
Acolyte Nord Narexquin knew better than to hesitate. He thrust his right hand in front of him as he listened to his superior move on the dais. He could not see the Priest Lord Ryglaksh Pixelar lay High Priestess Ishtar Ixtar back into her throne, and he dared not look up as he heard the man's sandals slap the floor as he approached, lest his unworthy eyes fall upon the High Priestess. He trembled with anticipation as the head priest Tiglax Pixar drew his musu and closed his eyes against the sight of the blade severing his hand at the wrist. Through mighty will, he did not shame himself and kept his feet.
"Go get that replaced, and let its cold and lifeless form remind you that death awaits you shall you fail once more."
Once the chastised man had left, he ordered a servant to clean the blood off the polished floor and took time to reflect.
"The giant, and she is stirring from slumber. To strike her down and humble her before Exur now, or to wipe away more of the unworthy to sate his thirst,"
he mused to himself.
"By my blade, this fight will require more in terms of ships. The sacrifices can wait. Instead, begin extracting raw materials for shipbuilding. Let the main fleet elements wet their musu. The Emperor will require more ships. Send out the scout squadrons callward. These Terrans are a foe beyond us at the moment. Our full glory must be brought to bear."
End of chapter. I'd greatly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.